This isn't poetry, but Wordsworth uses the phrase, a spontaneous overflow of feelings. Feelings can often be irrational since they combust reason and call for immediate action. But when you put feelings on paper, something happens. They become ethereal. It's hard, isn't it? It's not the type of topic you can easily bring up, and not only has it been severely stigmatized, but it's also a cause of shame and distress for those battling it. Addiction. There's no panacea for it because you're not going to cure drug addiction, alcoholism, mood disorders, or sleeping around with your eyes closed. Because these are all things we do to numb ourselves, to draw us away from feeling what's eating us. But heck, it needs to stop, and before it puts an end to you, you need to take the reins. I really hate 12-step programs and despise religious nuts. There, I said it. Why hide behind one's fingers? It's pathetic how these skeptical associations try to make vulnerable individuals surrender themselves to hallucinatory drugs depicted as faultless deities. The psyche is a scary place, which can render the naive child into a geriatric patient. For the Greeks, nepenthes were meant to banish grief, and Mnemosyne was meant to be silenced. Memory. Conscience. The small voice in your head. The one guiding your fingertips across the keys. The one keeping you up at night and churning your stomach. The little girl sleeping around with strangers because her daddy won't love her. A void she can't fill. The friend who won't pick up your calls because he's somewhere drinking away his sorrows. The 20-something Scandinavian-looking squatter whose hands are too bruised and eyes too tired to open. Although she could have made other acquaintances here, gotten new circles, her heart still aches for the family she couldn't have. The cynical servant who takes pleasure from belittling coworkers. Kind of like the poorly expanded, energetic vampire. They shout and put the blame on others. What better way to feel better about yourself than to point the finger at others? But then they cry themselves to sleep for the cold shoulder they were given throughout their years growing up in a broken home. The chain smoker sitting out the bar. Eat smoke, keeping them content. A saccharine reminder of conversations they've had with passersby. Eat smoke filling up their lungs to then expel anxious thoughts through their nostrils. The cutter, the pill popper, the binger. Is not a suffix, it's not a noun depicting one's entire existence. It's not a job, nor a title, nor an accomplishment. If anything, it's a damnable occupation to pass the time. Pass the time, not spend the time. And it's everyone. We're all addicted. Hoarding's an addiction too. Sentimental trinkets. Streaming services, just another way to fill up a void and live vicariously through actors' performances. I mean, where does it end? Certainly I wouldn't blame the sufferer. They say beggars can't be choosers. I say doctors and attorneys can't be choosers. The twisted, narcissistic post-war era we're living in has scarred so many. Just have a look around. Be selfless. Let go of the ego. And I don't mean checking obituaries. if you thought hikikomoris were having it rough, then try getting out of your pretty first world country bubble and try to muster a person who doesn't get a pension, doesn't have an income, can't afford housing, can't have an opinion because they're nobody. And nobodies can't run for a seat in the Congress. The nobodies are the dark spots on the sun. So we go and listen to politicians who are fueled by the crowd. And so the ego grows. The purpose. I'm needed, I'm wanted, I'm hated, I can prove them otherwise. What a thrill, dopamine and cortisol. The only way to treat addiction is by standing still, rooting oneself in the here and now. To hell with whatever others did. You are beautiful. And if you weren't loved before, it's never too late to try to love yourself. Now, on a serious note here, therapy and medication is essential in battling addiction. Mind you, Freud was addicted to cocaine, Marcus Aurelius had a kink for opium, and Alexander the Great was an alcoholic and binge eater, which led him to horrible bouts of gout. All great human beings battle addiction. All humans are great, having brought about the age of Anthropocene, the age of man, the current geological age. So what do you think is a cure?